Hello, welcome back to Learn with Biju. In today's session, I will be discussing with you some of the key elements in Python programming, including tokens, keywords, operators, identifiers, comments, statements, indentation, functions. Then we'll also see how to use Jupyter Notebook. The previous sessions we have already seen some of the concepts in Python, including its history, versions, development environment, how to set up development environment, how to use online code editors, and so on. So if you have not seen them, please check them out. I have given the links in the description. Let's start. As we are going to learn a new language, few things we should learn first. What are those? One is terms. Some of the programming terms. You must have heard about applications, programming, interface, software, classes, computer, then machine learning. There are so many terms that we should be aware of as we are moving ahead with the learning programming language. So, in our sessions, we will be covering many of them, and you can refer to some of the Python books to know more about the terms. Okay, it is not a programming language specific. This is something generic in the programming world. The second thing is data types. Data type determines what type of data you need to store in a variable. You may be storing numeric data, you may be storing text data, you may be storing currency. Sometimes you will need to store some dates. So we have different types of data types like string, integer, currency or money. Then we have binaries and so on. So data type is one thing that we should know as we are learning a language. The third thing is actions. Any application you will come across some actions. Most common one is CRUD operations like create, retrieve, update, and delete. Any database applications, you will encounter these actions. So let's learn some of these actions also. Finally, when you know terms, when you know data types, when you know actions, when you know programming, you should know best practices. Let's start with the tokens in Python. I'm sure you must be heard about tokens, right? Token of love, token of appreciation, something like that. But there is a token in Python too. What is a token in Python? The smallest individual unit in a program is known as token or a lexical unit. So here you are seeing a small Python program. This program has just 3 lines of code and you can see some of the tokens. And tokens are categorized into keywords, identifiers, operators, literals, and punctuators. Okay, so this program is for A1 in range 1 to 10. If A percentage 2 equal to 0, then print A1. What does this program does? Between 1 to 10, it will print all the values which is fully divisible by 2. Okay, there we are using some keywords like for, in, if, and we are using identifier called A1. We are using some punctuators called colon, then percentage, then comma. We are using operators like percentage, then equal to, Then we also use literals like 1, 10, 0. Let's do one thing. The program which I am showing in this image, let's do in the Jupyter notebook. Okay. Yeah, here is a program. This program has just 3 lines of code and I can read it out. For A1 in range 1 to 10, if A1 mod 2 equal to 0, print A1. So let me execute this code first, okay? Then we shall explain it. To execute the code, let's click on the run command. See, I have the output 2468. What does it mean? The program prints when A1 is fully divisible by 2. Got it? So that is a simple program. So let's understand various tokens in this program. We have keywords. What are those keywords? We have for, we have in, we have if. There are 3 keywords in this program, and we have identifier. Identifier is something called a variable name. So we have A1 is an identifier. Then we have operators. How many operators we have? We have 2 operators, right? We have equal to, we have A1, and we have percentage. We have 2 operators. Then we have literals. We have numeric literals 1, 10, 0. That is, we have 3 literals. Then we also having punctuations. We have a colon, we have comma, then here also we have a colon, right? So this is a simple Python program, and these are the base elements. Maybe we can say called as a token. The smallest unit of a program is a token, right? So for A1, in, all these are tokens, and they are categorized into keywords, identifiers, operators, literals, punctuations. Understood? Okay, let's move on. The next most important thing in any Python program is keywords. Okay, what is keywords? Keywords are predefined words with special meanings to the language compiler or interpreter. They are reserved for special purposes and must not be used as normal identifier names. So if you look at this screen, you see that I have added keywords false, none, true, and, as, is, in, or, pass, while, with, yield, etc. What are these keywords? They are keywords. They cannot be used as identifier names. Okay, they cannot be used as variable names. They are reserved in Python and they have a special meaning to Python compiler or interpreter. Got it? Let's go to Jupyter Notebook and see it in action. Yes, we are back to our Jupyter Notebook. Here we are going to see if any of the keywords can be used as an identifier. So there are so many keywords, and let me pick one. Maybe I can say yield equal to Biju. So I'm just creating an identifier with a name yield, and I'm giving my name as value. So let me run. Oh, it's actually saying that assignment to yield expression not possible. Okay, okay, I think there is some mistake. So let me use def. Can I use def again? It's not allowing me. Then let me try something called global. Some global. Again, it's saying invalid syntax. Why it should say invalid syntax? Okay, then I can use while. Maybe I shall try while. Shall try while. Oh, okay. So I have used almost five keywords, but none of them works fine. So maybe I will. Maybe it's a problem with my mission. Or it's a problem with my Jupyter. So let me make it while one. Okay, let me try to execute. Yeah, see that works. So this is the problem. This is the problem with the keywords, right? So please make sure that we are not using any of the keywords as identifier because this keyword has special meaning to interpreters and compilers. Next one is identifiers. As the name suggests, identifier is a name. So a person has an identifier that is his first name, last name, or that is name. Similarly, names given to different parts of the program. It could be variable, it could be objects, it should be class, it should be function, list, dictionaries, and so forth. Identifier means it is names. It could be given to any parts of the program such as variables, objects, classes, functions, etc. Variable names must only be a non-keyword with no spaces in between. Okay, that means it cannot be a keyword. Got it? Then variable names must be made up of only letters, numbers, and underscore. Then variable names cannot begin with a number, although they can contain numbers. Python is case sensitive as it treats upper and lower case characters differently. Okay, so these are the four basic rules we should follow when you go with identifiers. Let's see the identifiers and literals in action. Some additional identifier naming convention. Class name starts with an uppercase letter. All other identifiers starts with a lowercase letter. Starting an identifier with a single leading underscore indicates that the identifier is private. Starting an identifier with a two leading underscore indicates a strong private identifier. If an identifier also ends with two trailing underscore, the identifier is a language defined special name. Okay, let's try out few valid ones. Okay, they're valid. So if I try some invalid identifiers, okay, so I get exception because as it starts with digit and there is a hyphen and this is a keyword and this is a period. Okay, so these are invalid variables. So when you name your variables, please follow the naming conventions or the rules. So let's move on to the literals. Okay, literals in Python can be defined as number, text, or other data that represent values to be stored in variables. So we have string literals in Python, some name. We have integer literals in Python, numerical literal, that is age is equal to 22. We have float literals in Python, numeric literal, height 6.2. And we have special literal in Python, name equal to none. And if you want to insert any, so when you want to have tab, backspace, carriage return, new space in string literal, you can use escape sequences. Okay, so you see the result here. So the hello world with new line, hello world with tab. We have numeric literals. In the decimal forms we have integer, we have octa, we have hexa. For octa, it will starts with 0 O, then hexa it starts with 0x. Then we have floating. We can use a scientific notation. for floating point literals. Then we have Boolean literals, which shows true or false. Then we have special literals, none. Okay, so these are the variables, identifiers, and literals. Next type of tokens are operators. Operators are tokens that trigger some computation actions applied to variables and other objects in an expression. We have arithmetic operators like plus, minus, division, etc. We have bitwise operators and, or, XOR. We have shift operators, left, right shift. Then we have identify operators, is not, rational operators, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, equal to, logical operators like and, or, assignment operators, equal to. Then we have membership operators, in, not in, and finally arithmetic assignment operators, plus, equal to, divide, equal to, multiply, equal to, etc. We will see them in action. Back to our Jupyter notebook. Operators can be defined as symbols that are used to perform operations on operands. Python supports the following operators: arithmetic operators used for mathematical operations, comparison or relational operations used to compare values, assignment operators used to assign values to the variables, logical operators performs and or not operations, bitwise operators used to manipulate bit values, membership operators test for membership in sequence, identity operators compare the memory locations of two objects. First of all, let's start with arithmetic operators. Under arithmetic operators, we have plus, minus, divide by, multiply, percentage, this mode. So let's try a small program. We have identifier A, identifier B. We are going to calculate A minus B and assign to identifier C, and we are going to print C. So we are getting 5. So if I change minus to plus, it is going to be 15. If I going to change plus into multiply, then it's going to get 50. So arithmetic operators are used for mathematical calculations. Second part is bitwise operators. In Python, bitwise operators are used to perform bitwise calculation on integers. The integers are first converted into binary and then operations are performed on bit by bit, hence the name bitwise operators. Then the result is returned in decimal format. So we have bitwise and, bitwise or, bitwise not, bitwise XNOR, bitwise XOR, bitwise right shift, bitwise left shift. Okay, let's get into a sample. A equal to 10, B equal to 4, and what is A and B? It is it is 0. Okay, so let's see how the calculation happened. So we have identifier A, the value is 10, and the binary equivalent of decimal 10 is 1010, and we have B, value is 4, and the binary equivalent is 0100, and A and B, A and B equal to 0000, and the decimal equivalent is 0. In bitwise AND operator returns 1 if both the bits are 1, else 0. Okay, so this is the rule. coming to bitwise or, you know, returns 1 if either of the bit is 1 or else 0. Okay, so we have, when you do A or B, then you get 1110 and decimal equivalent is 14. Hope you understand. So if you look at the rules of these bitwise operations, you know, bitwise AND operator returns 1 if both the bits are 1, else 0. Bitwise operator OR returns 1 if either of the bit is 1, else 0. Then bitwise NOT operator returns one's complement of the number. Bitwise XOR operator returns 1 if one of the bit is 1 and the other is 0, else false. So this is the thumb rules of bitwise operations. So in order to see see in action, let's execute this program. Here, let's look A equal to 10, B equal to 4, and A and B is 0. A or B is 14. Then bitwise NOT operation, NOT A is negative 11. Then XOR A XOR B equal to 14. Okay. Then we have the shift operators. Shift operator. The operators are used to shift the bits of the number left or right, thereby multiplying or dividing the number by 2 respectively. They can be used when we have to multiply or divide a number by 2. Bitwise right shift, shift the bit of the number to the right and fill 0 on void left. Bitwise left shift, shift the bit of the number to the left and fill 0 on the void right as a result. Similar effect as of multiplying the number with some power of 2. Okay. To see in action, we have A 10, B minus 10. Then what is A shift right 1? That is, let's execute and see that. So we have A shift right 1 is 5, A B shift right 1 is minus 5, A shift left is 10, A shift left, B shift left is minus 20. Just follow this rule. Okay. Then we have Python identity operators. Identity operators are used to compare the object, not if they are equal, but if they are actually the same object with the same memory location. And we have an example: x equal to list of apple and banana, y equal to list of apple and banana. We are assigning z equal to x. Then we are checking if x is z. Ideally, it should be true. Then we are also checking x is y. It should not be, because they are two different objects. And we are also checking if x equal to y, then it should be true, because they are actually checking the values. See, true, false, true. Then we have no is not. This checking whether this object is not. So let's just execute and see. So it says that x is not z. That means if we are checking x is not z, that means false, because x is z. And x is not y, that's true. Then x not equal to y, that is again false, because the values are same. Then relational operators in Python. We have relational operators like greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And you can you can try it out by applying some values. I given a equal to 9, b equal to 5, a greater than b is true, so it is returning you a boolean value based on the condition. So I can try this also. So it is false. Okay. So A is not less than or equal to B. Then we have Python logical operators. That is, logical operators are used on conditional statement, either true or false. They perform logical and, logical or logical not operations. Order of evaluation of logical operators. In case of multiple operators, Python always evaluates the expression from left to right. This can be verified by below example. Okay, let's try this. Method called for value -1, method called for value 5. At least one of the number is positive. See how these expressions are evaluated from left. Then we have Python membership operators, in or not in. If X in Y, X not in Y, it's just checking if the item exists in the list or item not exist in the list. I can say if banana exists in X, yes, true. If pineapple not exist in, that is also that's also true. Apart from that, we have the assignment operators like equal to, plus equal to, slash equal to, in multiply equal to, then minus equal to, percentage equal to. Then we have the star star equal to. Okay, this is calculating the result and assigning to the left side operand. Assignment operators used to assign values to the variables. Okay, and finally, one of the other token of Python is punctuators. Punctuators are used to implement the grammatical and structure of a syntax. In the first example, we saw a small program where we could find some punctuations like colon, comma, etc. So these punctuators are used to implement the grammatical and structure of a syntax following a Python punctuators like single colon, double colon, hash. We have the parenthesis, we have at the rate, we have dot equal to, etc. With that, we have come to a conclusion of this session. In this section, we have concentrated on some of the key elements of a Python program, including tokens, keywords, literals, operators, and punctuations. In the coming section, we will be focusing on variables and variable assignments. Thank you. Thanks for watching Learn with Biju. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, please feel free to write to learnwithbiju@gmail.com. Thank you.